Most of the time when I'm talking to my family members, I always come up with this phrase that I technically invented. I always stated that life and nature are kind of like the internet. Is kind of appealing on the surface, but if you go deeper and deeper, you might gonna find stuff that are, well, in lack of better terms, not very family friendly. Not very. Sorry, yeah, just kind of sneezed coming out of it. This is something that comes to my mind a lot of times when I think about life and about the internet and all this stuff. Kind of like a very curious analogy or similarity. Considering that, sorry about that. Considering that the movie that I saw today, internet counts as a big factor. And that movie is none other than Unfriended. Unfriended Dark Web. Which is technically the sequel of Unfriended. That hit found footage film that took the gimmick of the whole movie just watching through the perspective of a Mac computer in both cases, and we just see the main character just mingling around the computer, making a Skype chat with other characters, and in the whole computer things go horribly wrong. I know that the first Unfriended has a little bit of a mixed bag on its reception. Some people like it, some people hated it, some people are okay with it, some people like the gimmick, some not. It's a whole mixed bag, but the real fact is that that movie was successful. For a low-budget movie, it got the last laugh, and like all gimmicks, many people will follow suit, including its own, well, the Unfriended series turning into, well, for lack of better words now, a franchise. Where do I stand with Unfriended? Well, I did like the gimmick. I'm not very picky on most of those elements of horror movies or any movie in general. There's so much that I might be considered a little bit forgiving in some areas, and not forgiving in some areas. Yes, it's a dumb movie, it's a stupid movie, and it does make some computer fallacies, coming from me that I'm a bit of a multimedia engineer. But still, I did like the concept. Even though I have to deal with, well, the typical annoying character that you find in this kind of movies, a very ridiculous plot, some people that even doesn't know what are the basics of computing and all this stuff. But I was kind of forgiving, except the ending. I didn't like the execution of the ending in Unfriended. So it was a big surprise to me that 2 weeks ago, I found out that there was going to be a sequel. And much to my surprise, the sequel is not produced by Universal Studios. It was produced by Blumhouse Studios. It's kind of weird to see a sequel belonging to another movie studios. Man, if people could share between franchise between company and company, that will be kind of like a socialist miracle. And I'm not gonna go too deep into. But the point is that watching the sequel, it kind of intrigued me where it was going. This time for a subtitle named Unfriended Dark Web. It's gonna explore some of the most darkest moments of the internet. For those who doesn't know, dark web, it is a term that they use for the deep web or the dark net, which is technically websites that cannot be found using a normal searcher, or it doesn't belong to what was it, slash index coding or something like that. In order to access those websites, you need a special software or some hacking skills in order to go into it. But when you go there, really you gotta be aware with these kind of things, because 98% of the content that you find on the dark web are either lots of illegal activities, a lot of illegal tradings, and even very nasty stuff that it might gonna scar you for life. And those included like illegal pornography, yes, child porn and all that stuff included. I feel dirty saying this. There's also weapon smuggling, drug smuggling, the things that you thought that they never existed, but they are, unfortunately. So this is why I say that 98% of those stuff are illegal. Like I said, it's kind of like nature. But still, some people have the curiosity to go there just for the sake of curiosity's sake. I mean, I never went to the dark web, trust me. But I saw some videos that are really disturbing. At least what YouTube allow me to watch, and some top 10s and all this stuff, because I'm a very curious guy. And most of those videos, yeah, they're definitely disturbing, but the real issue is that sometimes it's really questionable if those videos are real or not. I mean, if they're not real, oh man, I gotta praise them that their editing and their softwares are really good, looking good, and so realistic that it's downright disturbing. I'm not trying to praise anything. I'm just stating my opinion. But either way, I'm not interested on the dark web. I will never go into one of them because, yeah, most of these things they have hackers that could implant a virus and steal your information from your computer. So anyone who is curious about the dark web, beware. It's not a nice place. But still, it's a good concept to make a horror movie out of it. So now that I went to see Unfriended Dark Web with a friend of mine, I'm gonna say right on the get-go that I think that Unfriended with Dark Web is a little bit better executed than the last movie. It's not a perfect movie, and I don't think that it's gonna be the cup of tea of everyone. If you didn't like Unfriended or you're tired of the gimmick, you're not gonna like this one either. But I think that there are some minor improvements to the movie, considering on how they use the computer in some way or another. Sometimes they slip here and there. I like the characters a little bit better in this one. And one of the interesting approaches on this movie is that unlike the first movie that has a bit of a paranormal approach, Unfriended Dark Web is a little bit more grounded in reality. And I mean a little bit because there are some things that are hard to buy, but still, when it is a movie, you gotta break some rules here and there. But no matter, still the execution is, well, it could be a little bit scary, but at the same time it's a little bit creepy in a way. But unfortunately, this movie, the biggest thing that it suffers is that it doesn't go all out, and some of the stuff that happens, it becomes a little bit more tame compared to the first movie. And I'll get to that. And again, I will before I go, yeah, there are going to be some minor spoilers because I think that's the point of my vlog. It's just me letting out my likes and frustrations about the things that I watch. And again, semi-professionally, I'm talking in front of the camera without a script and anything. So, okay, what's the story about? Well, the story is about this guy who he appropriates a laptop that was left on his job in a lost and found bin, and well, he was like, okay, no one got this computer from no one claims this computer for 3 months, so why not? I'm gonna take it. So he goes there, and just like the Unfriended, the first movie, we just see only the point of view of his Mac computer, where he does all kind of things. I mean, he has this relationship with his girlfriend who is a deaf mute, in which they're having a little bit of a conflict because she tries to persuade the guy to learn sign language, and she's kind of, how can I say, I wouldn't say forcing her, but trying to motivate him to use sign language using Skype instead of writing it. But yeah, the guy is kind of like this millennial lazy guy, and he can't do it. And at the same time, he creates the software in which he can read sign languages. Software named Papaya or something like that. He knows a little bit of coding, and also he makes a Skype chat conference with a group of friends that are around the world with their horror movie two-dimensional personality that you can get. They're there for a game night. They're gonna play Cards Against Humanity via Skype. But things goes weird when someone logs into his Facebook account as another person, and there's some shady conversation on another account, and then the computer somehow begins to crash because there are a lot of information in the computer. There's a lot of data. Apparently the hard disk drive is very full. And what he encounters is that there are hidden files with lots of those really, really disturbing videos from cameras all around the world. Which, funnily enough, at first it starts out with really weird videos. Like, for example, a woman playing the guitar while eating, I think, a Pop-Tart. Some semi-naked guy dancing. Yeah, some really, really weird stuff. But then what happens is that there's also this software called the River, which kind of looks like if someone made kind of like this first-person horror on a river, but created in Minecraft. But the thing is this: as more as the movie goes on, and we see about what this guy do, it later turns out that this computer is directed to the owner, who he's part of the what was it? An organization of dark web users. And technically, someone is trying to communicate with our main character, complaining that, hey, you got my computer. You gotta give it to me, or else everyone will die. And yeah, that's technically it. The guy is threatened because, well, how can I explain these things? As much as illegal and criminalistic those videos and those contents are in the dark web, they earn a lot of money. Mainly in a currency known as BitCurrency, which technically is kind of like a digital money, but it's still worth a lot of money. And as things goes on and on, not only they discover kind of like this dark web ring, they apparently also this organization, they find out about this guy and his friends and his girlfriends, and so technically they are on the lookout, and until he gives them the computer, their lives are in danger. Especially when they see that what these guys are capable of. Some of the videos include girls in chains, girls in jail in a cage, starving to death, or a girl being dunked in corrosing and another one inside a barrel or something like that. And they have the capability to break into houses. Most notably, there's also this subplot that it also involves a missing girl, which is probably one of the latest victim. But either way, the guy is threatened by these guys. The execution is a little bit slower than the last movie. That's technically one of the few nitpicks that I have. But I can accept it because when you think about it, the idea of having a group of hackers infiltrating your house, knowing what you do, and they have even the capability to manipulate the electronics, like they are, like they're freaking MacGyver or something like that, right? And one of the best hackers in the world. It's kind of, it's creepy in a way. It's really, really creepy. Although, yeah, the way they hack into things is kind of questionable because they do it like magic or something like that. They're experts to the point that is a little bit unrealistic. But you know what? I don't mind. If the movie wants to push the boundaries of hacking fantasy, then that's okay. Oh yeah, I also want to mention that the name of the hackers group, they're called Chiron, which is the name which is also the name of the ferryman of the river Styx in Greek mythology. Hold on a second. Chiron. When I think about it, I play Persona 5, and there is a group of hackers with the name Medjet, which is the name of an Egyptian god. And it's founded by... Why do I get the feeling that these hackers were taught by Futaba? Okay, just kidding. I was nerdgasm out of it. But speaking of hacking and all this stuff, one of the nitpicks that I do have with the movie is that whenever the hackers are seen on screen by the webcams and all this stuff, you don't see them pretty clearly. They're always, whenever they show up, the images, they distorted. Kind of like they're a ghost or something like that. It feels kind of like supernatural, but it kind of makes you question how the hell did they do that? My theory is that they probably are wearing those jammers that could jam the system so their images are scrambled. But unfortunately, that is never mentioned on the movie. So technically, it's kind of like a hypothesis or something like that. Which is weird because on the video of their latest victim, the guy, you can see clearly the face of a guy or something like that. That's one of the few nitpicks that I have with the movie. But what else I can say? This is a little bit of a big spoiler because there are because I want to say that when the moments get really heated, that's when the movie turns much more intriguing than, well, good in a way. That I can guarantee you. If you're not... Maybe even if you don't like the movie, you can't deny that you're gonna get interested on how this will go on. And in some ways, it kind of pays off in a way. In my thinking, I think that it began to pay off when all the victims are going down. But because kind of most of the time you're gonna see our main character having the whole stress of dealing with this situation in which not only his life is in danger, but everyone is in danger, and for a brief period, the owner of the laptop kind of threatened him, saying that dude, if you don't give me that laptop, I'm gonna murder everyone. Oh, don't call the police. Don't have everyone sign out, or else they're gonna die because they already know. And man, in a way, the poor guy, he kinda in a way tries to keep everything calm until he finally gets the chance to tell everyone that everyone is in danger. That was a little bit meh in my opinion, but when they finally pay off, it finally pays off. I mean, oh yeah, I never talk about what kind of character we have apart from the main character and the deaf mute girl who is on her, who apparently doesn't know what is happening. The other four group of friends are, well, five group of friends. It is a lesbian couple, a guy who he's expert on computers because we need more of those guys. I think she's a Chinese girl who is good at music, and a conspiracy theorist guy who is the let's say that he's kind of like the oddball goofball of them all. And funnily enough, why is it that he kind of reminded me of Spoonie before he lost his mind? I think it is time for me to also talk one of the few downsides about this movie. For a movie that considers itself rated R, the violence is very tame, and even the videos doesn't seem to be as morbid as a real dark web movie. So I think that they should push it. You know what? I think this is the reason why we should abolish this this ridiculous censorship parental guides thing in one way or another, or let's tweak it a little bit so it allow artists to push themselves even in the, well, I wouldn't say morbid, but more effective way to create some kind of fears. Trust me, a dark web video is really disturbing. Those the videos that you see are kind of tame, and for a movie that it feels more like a PG-13 horror more than a R-rated horror. It doesn't feel very bloody or impactful or in this case gory. So go all out. Even sorry, is that I know there's a gory thing on dark web. I know it exists. I will not you know what? I'm not gonna tell you about it, but it's so disturbing that I never saw it, but I know it exists. Oh my god, thank you, Unfriended Dark Web. Now you're making me uncomfortable on knowing the horrors of what is deep inside. You know what? Fine. The dark web is kind of the dark web is kind of like the ocean. The more you go deep, the more horrifying animals you will find. Even the deaths, they seem kind of tame. Although to his credit, are kind of disturbing. Here goes a little bit on big spoilers because I have to talk about it. My friend who accompanied me and we were discussing what were the best part of the movies, and we both agree on two scenes. And again, big spoilers because technically we're gonna ruin some of the best moments. Even though you might gonna be spoiled by the freaking trailer who it has too much to show. But here goes. Probably the best death on this movie is that when the hacker finally realized that everyone is into it, they decided that they're gonna start to kill all the group of friends on the Skype, and the first victim they pick is the conspiracy theorist guy, and the way they do it is really creative. I gotta say, it's so laughably magical that it was kind of it was kind of interesting. What happens is that since the guy has a YouTube channel where he goes on with conspiracy theories all of it, the hackers technically they pick up bits and pieces of a couple of his videos, then they call 911 and they compile all the things that he said in order to make it look like he is he's making a bomb threat. And they even give the authorities the 911. So in an instant, the SWAT team they get into his house. They try to break into his basement because the guy was on the basement. And what happens is that the hackers they kind of realize that the guy also has this boombox with a big loud sound mix or something like that, whatever they were gonna call it. So what they did is that they play the sound of a shotgun, and when they play the sound of the shotgun, it alarmed the SWAT team and they shoot the guy. So yeah, we got a guy who got SWAT to death. That was interesting. That was an interesting death scene. And by the way, people, don't do it. It sucks. This joke really sucks, and it caused a lot of problems. So don't try it out. But probably my personal favorite scene is what happens to the lesbian couple. One of the girls, she took the opportunity to go out and wants to get into the subway so she can call the police while the other one stayed. But apparently the hacker group named Tyron, again, they kind of realized that, and they made the remaining girl on Skype give out a very sadistic choice. Either they're gonna kill her girlfriend who is waiting on the subway while there is one of the member waiting to push her when the subway comes, and the other one is that they're gonna disconnect the life support of her mother, who it was previously stated that she had a mother very sick on life support, and the hacker is gonna cut off her that system and kill her. And so they gave her the choice to choose one of them. Very sadistic choice. And that part actually put me chills to my bones, because that was very uncomfortable. And it was even more effective considering that, unlike Unfriended, most of the characters are technically assholes. So, unlike Unfriended, in which I thought that most what they got, they deserve it. This one, it didn't, and also it took a big difference in between the character from the one movie or another. Because in the last movie there was something similar in which she had to make a choice, but their main character kind of chose the latter in order to save herself. The other one couldn't make that choice. So it become a lose-lose situation for all the three characters. That's the extent of how chilling I felt on that moment, and technically I applaud what this movie did. And finally, I have to speak a little bit about the ending. But the best way I can say is that I like the ending of Unfriended Dark Web much better than the ending from Unfriended. Because Unfriended kind of ended in a very unnecessary jump scare. How can I say it? I say it unnecessary because for those who've seen the movie, it ends up with the ghost realizing that the main character was the one who made that embarrassing video that led her to suicide. And so she shows it to all the social media, and everyone began to dislike her. But then, because they wanted to make it scary, they ended with a jump scare. which again, kind of unnecessary. The good thing about Dark Web is that it didn't end it with a jump scare, but it ended up with something a little bit more chilling. And this is something that I appreciate, that it didn't need it, the jump scare. It just needed to show that this is something that could happen to the unluckiest of all people. And considering that most of the horror that happens is a little bit grounded, it makes you kind of scared about the things that happen around the world. And we probably might never find out, or don't even want to find out, and sometimes even be glad that we're not part of it. People who are curious like me might know about it. It's a good thing to have a little bit of a knowledge of all the dark stuff that happens in the world. How can I say it? It's a difficult topic to talk about it. Maybe because of that movies like that, it is interesting to talk about it. Even though that kind of brings out the attention, my question that sometimes even movies that could suck have something to talk about. Wow, now that is something interesting. So anyway, I think that I'm done talking about this movie. Overall, I'm gonna say that Unfriended Dark Web the execution is a little bit better than the last one. I'm not gonna recommend you 100%. I'm probably gonna say 70%. But that mostly depends if you enjoy this movie or technically don't care. Then you're gonna see it's fine. It's just fine. It's no big deal. It's no big deal. It's a gimmick that not everyone is now trying out. It might be tiring, it might be overused, but hey, I'm just a guy who is kind of forgiving on most of the stuff, and I'm not gonna go with the same excuse that many people are saying that, oh, I've seen that before. Obviously, you live longer and you watch more movies, so what do you expect? Especially considering that there are many new generations who are gonna watch movies that they don't even know that they exist. And yeah, we should expose them to the past also to see that some movies from the past are better than the present. So I'm not gonna be that picky. Drop it or leave it. It is a good time waster, let's say. So you don't have to be in a hurry to watch it on. How can I say, on the big screen. Maybe you can watch it as a rental. That's the least I could say. Like or not like Unfriended, check it out. Here's my big life lesson advice. Never go to the dark web. If not unless you are these kind of daredevils or something like that. But trust me, once you go into the dark web, your life will change. And sometimes, not for the better.